Can you hear me? Hi, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Nice. Welcome. How are you today? Good to see you.
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm also good. I just started to realize I wanted to say I'm getting a bit hungry, but I think what I have is just, let's put it this way, some appetite for another wonderful conversation. So welcome, and let me just introduce you right away so that we can kick this off here. So you're Ilana Jankowitz. You are a mindset money coach and the founder of Mindful Money Coaching. You're also an NLP practitioner, originally from South Africa, and I think the businesses that you ran there eventually took you to Switzerland, where you now have been living for what I understand exactly 14 years. So happy anniversary. And yeah, you're also happily married and the mother of 2 young adult children. So a very warm welcome to another episode of Manifest Conversations, where we talk about first time and other life experiences that taught us something or enriched our lives in a specific way. Are you ready to talk about money?
Always. My friends tell me that I'm weird, that I enjoy talking about money, and but I think it's such an interesting conversation and a topic that we don't talk about.
It's exactly that. That's what I was about to say. It's actually weird to say, let's talk about money, because it's one of these sometimes almost taboos, right? And that's so interesting, especially, if I may say so, in a society where money does not necessarily seem to be the issue, if I may say so. I mean, it is obviously, but money is somehow there, but still it's something we are not fully comfortable with at times. And I would like to understand and ask if you could share a bit about how you became aware that this is actually a topic you want to address consciously, I should probably say. Yeah, what's the story behind that?
Interesting you saying we don't like to talk about money. I know couples, when they get together, they talk about what dog they're going to get, or animals, or where they're going to live, or where they're going to go on holiday, but they never really talk about their finances. And I grew up also not talking about money at home when we grew up. I knew that there was a lack of it because I heard this very often, that we don't have money. So that's the first time I kind of heard about it. And also the way my mom had to work so hard. I saw her working 2-3 jobs. It made me subconsciously make decisions in my mind, because we all do this, of how I'm going to be when I grow up one day around money. And they were all from her mistakes, that I was going to be doing what I did. And this not understanding about investments and about looking after your money and about simple things like budgeting and about being able to talk about money and say how you feel, because with money there's all the emotions that come up. Not dealing with it and being able to, as I said, talk about it. I built very bad behaviors around money. So that's what got me into the situation that I was in, that led me to go and get help.
And how did you become aware? I mean, that point where you felt, I need to do something about it. I want to. I guess that's probably what needs to be there, right? Can you take us there? What state were you in, or situation?
It got to a point where they say the number one reason for divorce is money. And if money wasn't a problem before you divorced, when you become divorced, it is a problem. For me, it was all our arguments were about money. How much I was spending, what I was doing with the money, how I was wasting money. And all of this spending and this feeling of I need to buy and I need to have came from a feeling of trying to fulfill an emotion that I was trying to appease. It got to a point that my husband and I were arguing every day, or every couple of days about money. Money was a really, really taboo topic. And he would shout at me and say, just budget, stop wasting money. And I didn't know what any of this meant. And that got me into a situation where I realized I needed to get help. Otherwise, I was going to lose my marriage.
Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned filling a void, right? So do you understand today, or could you say, looking back, has that void gone away, or do you just feel it differently, when it comes up? Or how did you manage to overcome that in that sense?
When we realize that we are wired from our parents' behaviors, their beliefs and their patterns, and from their parents, so it's kind of generational financial trauma, mm-hmm. You realize that you actually are living in the 21st century, but it's nearly like you're living in the 1920s with that type of mindset, that women are givers, that women have to do everything, that you earn your respect, your love, by doing things for others, not for yourself, that looking after yourself is selfish. Mm-hmm. What I was doing was exactly that. I was buying and shopping for others and I would never go somewhere empty-handed. I would always overindulge my children, trying to fill this guilt for me that I never had when I was growing up. And that feeling of never being enough, never having enough, was something that I lived with for a very long time.
So it was like a compensating also for that, right? Could you say today that you're now enjoying this, in a different way, or are you not giving that much anymore? Do you give in other ways, or is it just what has changed for you?
Giving other ways. My kids know they can contact me anytime. If they need something, have a conversation, I'll show them how to do it. I won't do it for them, which is something I've had to learn. So you do give in a different way, but for me, it was always giving. Finances could fix it. And sometimes it wasn't finances what they needed or what they were asking for.
That's actually a very interesting point. Yeah, go on.
And I think also, yeah, they talk about, teach someone to fish and they can eat for the rest of their lives, or otherwise, give them a fish. It's something I had to learn. And with the people I work with my family. For me, finances, money now has become something that's comfortable, something that is an energy. It's the reward for a job well done. It's not something that I put my self-worth onto. The amount of money in my bank is not my self-worth, because a big bill can come in, tax bill or whatever, and that balance can drop down. That is not my self-worth. My self-worth is something that I work on constantly, that I have to build up, because it's my responsibility, not anybody else's.
Yeah, and money cannot necessarily help there, right? Yeah. So if I understand that right, it's a process. It's still a process, probably, right? But or would you say you're in a balanced state now?
Very much in a balanced state, and have been for a very long time, because a lot of it is letting go of the past. Mm-hmm. That doesn't serve you. It doesn't. There needs to be forgiveness. There needs to be forgiveness to yourself for the mistakes you've done and what you've learned from it, and taking those learnings and turning them into something valuable that you can use. And it's about having balance and choosing, making choices. Life is about choices. I choose to do this, or I choose to do that. And I choose to live in abundance, as opposed to, from our past, living in scarcity. When the scarcity thoughts come up, I have to talk to it and say, what's going on? You don't need to be here. Go. So it's a choice. And you do that when you've done the inner work on yourself, which I've done quite a while ago and continually do. I'm always learning and reading and improving.
And all that actually brought you to let's say, the purpose, right, in your life. You're helping others along that journey as well. And I think, interestingly, a rather painful experience probably at some point opened up into this, to use the word you used also, into this abundance feeling, and in this more abundant life. And it has probably then also influenced the relationships. I understand you're still married, so that must have helped. Yes. So when did you, at some point, did you realize that your life was probably changing? Not just if I may say so, because you started to address the money topic, right? Is that true? That it had like a ripple effect?
Money is, you have a relationship with money. If you understand it or not, you have a relationship with money, the way you see money, the way you receive money. And there's lots behind there to unpack, which we're not doing. That relationship with money is a relationship, and all relationships are connected. The way you have a relationship with a partner, with someone you work with yourself, they're all relationships. And when you improve the one relationship, the other relationships also improve. For instance, if you improve your relationship with your health, your mentality changes, your energy changes, you're able to work better at work, you're able to create more things in your life, and then more finances. So by fixing the one relationship, you fix other relationships.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's like an upward spiral then somehow, right? You start creating this energy, and you mentioned energy already also in the context of money. I think you work mostly with women, right? Is that or is that not true, first of all? And is that mostly because you are, in that sense, most aware of your own story and feel maybe there's this closeness to women? Or am I maybe wrong? I see your reaction.
You're 100% right. I have been working for many years. I used to work with couples, because when I first got into this, I thought, well, I nearly landed up destroying my marriage. I want to help couples. And I got in working with couples. I found it very, very difficult. I think that I probably didn't have enough experience. I only had my experience. So I chose then to really work with women, because it was more mentoring and coaching them. Over the years, it has been with women, and it's been my vision to empower women to be financially abundant and financially empowered. But recently, I have had men come into me who've said to me, I need your help and I don't know where else to go. So I work VIP, so on a one-on-one basis with some men, and it's been amazing. They've had big transformations, and if they are open to change and to shift in their ideas and not being very stuck or letting ego rule them, I'm happy to work with men. Women are more vulnerable and they say how they feel, and men are often a lot more closed to this. So it has to be the right fit for me to work with the men.
Understand. And what you're saying is now, talking stereotypically, I'm aware of that, but let me say, if I imagine that there's these sides to money, right? That you're talking about an emotional side now, let's say, and there's the other side of it, which is then the purely, I call it, let's say, transactional, right? So knowing the tools, where do I budget? How do I budget? Where do I invest? How do I invest? Why do I invest? And so on. And that we may still associate the more transactional piece and tool related with men, maybe, and the more emotional side is maybe something that comes more for the female. And then we know that we all have both energies in us, right? So it is probably about strengthening one side or the other in us.
Interesting what you say. The women that I'm working with, a lot of the women that do, as I call the money IQ. So I do the money EQ, which is the emotional side of money. The money IQ, a lot of the women that I'm working with do that, help you where to invest, help you with all the tools, as you say.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of women doing this, and I'm not a certified financial advisor, so I can't do this. I can help them with budgeting. I can help them with their goals, but work more with the emotional side of money. There's people that do, as I said, the money IQ.
And that's interesting also if we talk about, let's say, the business side. Business includes on money somehow, right? It's about, again, transactions. We sell something, we get money for it. And you are also an entrepreneur, and I think a very passionate entrepreneur. I always see that, yeah, this is really your thing, running businesses. Now, there's obviously also women who do that, and let's maybe move away a bit from women-men discussion. But yeah, running a business involves money, and as I briefly mentioned before, we are here in a place, if we take Switzerland specifically, but I think many countries and places in the Western world and other parts of the world are quite wealthy, you know, have high living standards, and there's many successful entrepreneurs in that sense, but there might still be some anxiety around money and so on, right? How is that possible?
Because it's all, and I really believe, and when I say this phrase, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. We don't have business problems. We have personal issues that we take to work with us. So we want to run a business. We want to do well in our business. We want to do everything and grow it and have an amazing business. But in our personal life, we have got money issues, scarcity issues, issues from our past, of the way we've been wired. And we go to work trying to run our business, but our subconscious mind is telling us, you're not good enough, you're not going to do this. It's going to all that thoughts that are in the subconscious, which is like an old movie playing. There's 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, per day.
Thoughts.
And you're telling yourself,
not words, right?
Not words, thoughts.
Yes.
And that is what a lot of people have. So they have this feeling of, yes, I want to start my business. I have a fantastic idea. But the fear, the emotions, sabotages them. So we say self-sabotaging. We self-sabotage our own actions.
And it's actually, what I hear here is also about, yeah, self-worth, obviously, self-esteem, confidence. I would then conclude that the journey, your own journey, has also helped you with these topics, right? Self-esteem, self-worthiness, and let's say confidence. And how do you take care of yourself today, you know? Because I think in all of this, there's also a self-care aspect. And I believe in a materialistic world, if I call our world a bit like that, we would have a tendency to believe that certain, I don't know, spa treatments and so on are self-care. And it might be to some respect, but then there's probably other aspects to this, right?
I love that. Self-care is about you looking after yourself. I believe that for some women, you will find that that is what they do to make themselves feel better.
To find what, if they do
to make themselves feel good, they will go for all these spa treatments, etc. And that's fantastic. However, I believe it is what you do with what goes on here. So the meditation, the affirmations, the gratitude, the journaling, or something that we can do to reprogram ourselves daily on how we show up today. But going for a manicure is not going to put our heads in the right mindset, or our minds in the right mindset of feeling I'm abundance. I have enough.
It's probably a distraction even I mean, in the end, we might even feel guilty, right? And I can relate to that very well. Even though we had this beautiful treatment somewhere or this wonderful trip, we might still feel anxious or unworthy and so on. It may not help.
And that's often, as you said, the distraction, because we sweep under the carpet the emotions that we need to deal with, the fears. We don't want to deal with it. So then what we do is we overcompensate and we do all those other things, going for the trips and that probably sometimes that you can't necessarily even afford, as opposed to dealing daily with the inner words, the inner thoughts.
Yeah, and what comes up for me here also is this, it means being patient also, because I think it's a process, right? This rewiring, it is not just reconnecting to kind of cables and it's done. So patience and other things might be the more instantaneous, like, oh, let me go here, let me go there, let me go that, go get this, get that. So that's very tangible and immediate, whereas the whole process would otherwise probably always require some patience and self-love, right?
Self-love and work, giving yourself, cutting out time for yourself every day in your calendar where you're working on things that you can feel different. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's reading somebody's book that really encourages, motivates you.
Yeah.
Or listening to a podcast.
And how do we do that in our busy lives?
We all have 24 hours in the day. We don't get given time. We take the time. One of the things that's really important is every week or month, or however you're planning your calendar, is to take time for yourself, to take time to do your be nature, take time for your time where, and I always believe in, and it's one of the things that I teach in my program, is teaching people how to live like the wealthy people do. Waking up early before you need to be at your desk and having time for meditation or walk or exercise or proper breakfast or planning your day in the activities that you do. A lot of people that are in scarcity wake up with this anxiety, with this, I need to go, I need to make money, I need to do. Wealthy people will enlighten themselves by listening to something, going on a walk and listening to a motivational podcast or cycle, whatever it is. We got technology today. It's literally, with the phone, even in your backpack, the Bluetooth, you can still be connected.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. And I believe, I mean, for your own children, how do you see that? I know, I guess we all went to a school where we didn't really learn about money, right? And maybe, I don't know how it was for them, and they may have learned some stuff from you, obviously. But yeah, do you see that, or are you aware of anything that might be changing there today? Or, yeah?
They are, because of the things I speak to them about, where I never had this conversation with my parents. My mother was in scarcity. I have conversations with them. What have you got in savings? What's going on in your finances? You want to buy those new clothes? Can you sell something from your wardrobe? So there's always this talking about being on top of their finances, budgeting. What budgeting tools are you using?
And in even broader in the society, do you think some things might be changing even in schools or so? Not sure if you have any insights, maybe.
I think what I've seen over the years is that I work with the women, and the children learn from their parents. We mirror our parents. Yeah. You don't mirror your teacher. So your parents' behaviors, the parents need to go and get their relationship with money sorted so that they can teach their children.
Yeah, we might admire teachers in an ideal state. I mean, yeah, they can still be very influential, but yeah, I agree with you. And today with online, courses and programs, there might even be other ways than, let's say, the traditional school system where we can get education from an earlier age. Now, if someone would like to start on this journey, I think it also takes some courage, right? Because obviously looking at emotions and so is not necessarily what we always just enjoy, because it can be painful. What would your advice be for someone to get started?
It's very interesting. I've studied market research, and 5 years ago, I did a market research on my own business. And I saw that all the women that were working with me were in the 40s, 50s, some even 60s, had children and responsibilities, etc. I've looked over the last 2 years, last 3 years even, and I've noticed that I'm working with women who don't have children, who are late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. It's been a shift. And these women are not afraid to invest and to invest in themselves. It excites me very, very much that these women are coming younger and younger. I'm getting girls of 26 that are saying, I want to change my relationship with money. I have a good relationship with money. I want to make it even better. I want to buy property. I want to buy a holiday house. I've got a girl who's just got married and has just bought a holiday house in, I can't remember which country it is, and is going to Airbnb it out while she's not in it. And I'm thinking, she's in Switzerland, and I can't remember where the property is. And I'm thinking, that is amazing.
It is. And actually, I think, as you said, they may not necessarily have their own family, or not yet, but I would assume there's other, like networks and communities where that inspires, if these people would then become models for others, right?
Can you imagine how they're going to talk to their children about money, and how it's going to be teaching they basically, as I said, we mirror, our parents mirror what we need to be, how we need to be around money, the emotional stuff, how they were when they were stressed, you picked it up, your parents had a fight, you heard about it.
Oh, yes.
All of those things. Imagine now a generation where these young ladies are being empowered and are investing and doing the right things for themselves. And when they do have children, their children are learning from parents of that generation. It's going to change the next generation. And that is what I believe is leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
Leaving a beautiful legacy of, not my parents actually messed me up, this is what they did for me, and having all that anger, but my parents helped me to enrich my life, to learn the best things that I could, to concentrate on my future, on my education.
And I think I totally agree, and that's very powerful. I would also think that even outside core families, it can happen through network friendships and so on. And I know you are very much into community building also, so that inspiration happens also outside the family. If we look at friends that manage to get this holiday home, as you said, and then we might get interested and ask, and how did they do that, and so on. So there's probably inspiration that happens at multiple levels, if I may call it that.
A ripple effect. It affects different people around you, your friends, your family, society.
And coming back to community also, and back to a few years back when you moved to Switzerland, I would imagine that there was not really community that you had here. So you would need to start building it for you. How was that experience for you? And does that somehow fit into the picture of what became your passion and purpose?
One of the things that leaving my community in South Africa and leaving my friends that I've been a lot of them friends with since I was in nursery school and still am friends with them today, I wanted to create a community, and I speak about it often in my blogs and on my newsletters. And the ladies that I've worked with come into my community group, where it's just support, where they can really get involved, share their products. A lot of them are working together with each other. A lot of them are shy and kind of just watch. But a lot of them do actually participate, or they message me and they say, is anyone in the group that does X, Y, Z? And then I normally put them in contact. I don't put any pressure on anybody. Also, a lot of the ladies that I have worked with don't necessarily want to be in a community because they've got their own community. But for the women that want it, it's there. For example, if it's somebody's birthday and we know it and wish them happy birthday, sometimes that could be the only birthday wish they're actually getting. So community is something that's really important to me. And I've tried to create that here amongst the women that I've worked with.
So you're bringing all of that together, your passion, purpose, and community. Very beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today and for the
pleasure
to the world of the emotional side of money. Thank you. Have a good day, and I'll speak to you next time.
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Bye, Ilana.
Bye.